Imagine this. You unlock the front door, and for a brief moment, everything feels perfect. Sunlight pours through oversized windows. A beautiful kitchen island sits at the center of the home. There's an extra guest bedroom, even though nobody ever really comes to stay. And in the garage, there's finally room for 2 cars. This is the house you've been working toward for years. The promotion finally came. Your income went up. Friends congratulate you. Family tells you you've made it. Everyone says the same thing. You deserve this. And honestly, it feels true. This bigger house becomes more than just a place to live. It becomes proof. Proof that all those late nights, all the stress, all the sacrifices were finally worth something. But then, something quietly changes. Not overnight, not dramatically, slowly. 3 years later, your bank account feels tighter. Your monthly expenses somehow keep growing. The excitement fades, yet the bills never do. Without realizing it, the house that was supposed to represent freedom has quietly become the very thing standing between you and actual financial freedom. Today, I want to show you something that almost nobody in real estate wants to talk about. Because from the perspective of money, buying a bigger house isn't just buying more space. It's one of the largest wealth transfers most adults will ever willingly participate in. A transfer that's celebrated, encouraged, even admired by society, but one that quietly steals millions of dollars without ever looking like a bad decision. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. People don't usually become financially trapped because they buy luxury watches, designer handbags, or expensive vacations. They become trapped because they buy one thing, one beautiful, respectable, socially accepted thing, a house that slowly becomes too expensive to own. And by the end of this video, you may never look at a home upgrade the same way again. Most people become obsessed with the purchase price. They stare at the listing. $400,000, $700,000, and they tell themselves, it's only $300,000 more. That is where the illusion begins. Let's imagine you already own a $400,000 home. Life is going well. Then one day, you decide it's time to upgrade. A larger open floor plan, higher ceilings, a bigger backyard, maybe a nicer neighborhood. The new house costs $700,000. You sign the paperwork, shake a few hands, take family photos in front of the house, and in your mind, the biggest expense is over. But it isn't. In fact, it's only just beginning. Because the purchase price isn't the real cost of a bigger home. It's simply the admission ticket. Think of it like joining a club where the membership fee never ends. Every single month, your house quietly asks for more money, and unlike almost every subscription you pay for, this one can't simply be canceled. Today's mortgage rates make that difference even more painful. That extra $300,000 can easily add another $1,500 or even more to your monthly payment. But here's what almost nobody includes in the calculation. The mortgage isn't the biggest expense. The bigger danger is something I call scaling costs. Because larger homes don't cost a little more to maintain. They cost more in every single category. Property taxes increase, not because you're using the house more, but simply because it's worth more. Year after year, those taxes continue climbing. Homeowners' insurance gets more expensive, more square footage, more replacement cost, more risk. Then comes maintenance. This is where reality quietly catches up with homeowners. Roofs wear out, Air conditioners fail, water heaters break, plumbing leaks, paint fades, driveways crack, landscaping grows. And none of it asks whether this is a good year financially. Financial planners often use a simple rule. Expect to spend between 1 and 2% of your home's value every year just to keep it from falling apart. On a $700,000 home, that's easily $10,000 zoo or more every single year, not for upgrades, not for luxury, just to keep everything working. Then come the utility bills, more rooms to cool, more rooms to heat, more windows, more lighting, more appliances, more furniture, more cleaning, more repairs. Every extra square foot quietly creates another recurring expense. Individually, none of these bills seem life-changing, but together, they become something incredibly powerful. Because money doesn't disappear all at once. It leaks, slowly, quietly, month after month, year after year, until one morning, you look at your paycheck and wonder where it all went. That bigger house didn't really cost you an extra $300,000. It created a lifestyle that quietly demands another $1,500 every single month for decades. And that's before we even talk about what that money could have become if it had never disappeared into the walls of your house. Now let's talk about something that almost never shows up on a mortgage statement. Something you can't see, but something that quietly determines whether you'll spend your later years with freedom or with regret. Economists have a name for it: SAS opportunity cost. Das in plain English. It's the value of what you gave up every time you chose one option over another. Because money has a remarkable ability. If you leave it alone, it begins to work for you. It earns returns. Those returns earn returns. And over time, small amounts become surprisingly large fortunes. Now think back to that extra $1,500 a month. At first, it doesn't sound life-changing. Many families can afford it. Some barely notice it. But here's the question almost nobody asks. What if that money had never gone into the house? What if, instead of disappearing into higher mortgage payments, larger tax bills, bigger insurance premiums, and endless maintenance, it had been invested instead? History gives us a clue. Over long periods of time, the U.S. stock market, represented by broad index funds like the S&P 500, has delivered average annual returns of around 10%. Not every year. Some years are painful, others are extraordinary, but over decades, the trend has been remarkably consistent. Now imagine investing that same $1,500 every month without interruption. No chasing hot stocks. No trying to time the market. Just patient, automatic investing, month after month, year after year, for 30 years. The result, more than $3 million. Let that number sit with you for a moment. $3 million. Not because you worked harder. Not because you found a secret investment. Simply because you allowed time and compound growth to do what they have always done. This is the invisible bill attached to a larger home. The price isn't just what you pay. It's everything that money never gets the chance to become. Every extra dollar tied up in the house is a dollar that can no longer buy your future freedom. It can no longer build passive income. It can no longer grow into retirement security. It can no longer create options. And options are what real wealth actually buys. The ability to leave a stressful job, the freedom to spend more time with family, the confidence to start a business, the peace of knowing an unexpected medical bill won't destroy your finances. Those opportunities rarely disappear all at once. They vanish one monthly payment at a time. This is why so many high-income families still feel financially trapped. From the outside, their lives look successful. The beautiful house, the luxury neighborhood, the perfect lawn, the expensive furniture. Everything appears to signal wealth. But beneath the surface, their future is slowly being exchanged for square footage. They're not simply buying a larger home. They're quietly selling their financial independence. And perhaps the saddest part is that society applauds them for it. Friends say, "Congratulations." Neighbors admire the upgrade. Social media fills with compliments. No one applauds the family that quietly invests the difference. No one throws a party for a growing investment portfolio, because compound interest is invisible until one day it isn't. Years later, one person is still working because they have to. The other works only if they choose to. One spends retirement worrying about monthly expenses. The other spends retirement creating memories. The difference wasn't luck. It wasn't intelligence. And it certainly wasn't income. It was a series of small financial decisions made consistently over decades. The bigger house wasn't just more expensive. It quietly demanded the most valuable asset you will ever own. Not your money, your future. And once you begin seeing housing through that lens, it's impossible to unsee it. Here's something most people never stop to question. Why are our homes getting bigger while our families are getting smaller? Think about that for a moment. A few generations ago, the average American family lived in a house that was nearly half the size of today's homes. Children, sometimes grandparents, everyone shared the same space. Privacy was limited. Luxury was rare. But somehow, people still built memories. They still laughed around the dinner table. They still raised families. And life went on. Fast forward to today. Our homes have never been larger. Yet more people than ever live alone or in households with just 2 or 3 people. We've built thousands of extra square feet, but many of those rooms sit empty. Guest bedrooms that host visitors 4 nights a year, formal dining rooms used only during the holidays, home offices that become expensive storage closets, living rooms where no one actually lives. Every one of those spaces comes with a hidden price. They must be heated, cooled, cleaned, painted, insured, furnished, maintained. Year after year, we're not just buying rooms, we're paying to preserve empty air. And somehow, we've convinced ourselves that this is normal. But here's an uncomfortable question. Who decided that every child needs a massive bedroom? Who decided that every family needs a media room, a game room, a guest suite, and a 3-car garage? These ideas didn't appear by accident. They were carefully sold to us. For decades, advertising has quietly redefined success. A bigger house became proof that you were winning. More space meant higher status. An extra bedroom became a symbol, not of necessity, but of achievement. Some parents say, "I'm doing it for my children." And that's a beautiful intention. Every parent wants to give their children more opportunities than they had. But here's the difficult truth. Children rarely remember how many square feet their bedroom had. They remember whether their parents were present, whether dinner was peaceful, whether weekends were filled with laughter or financial stress. A child doesn't benefit from a guest room that sits empty, but they absolutely benefit from parents who aren't constantly worried about money. Because financial pressure has a way of changing everything. It changes conversations. It changes marriages. It changes patience. It changes the emotional atmosphere inside the home. Ironically, many families buy larger houses hoping to create a better life, only to discover that the financial burden quietly steals the very peace they were trying to purchase. And then there's another cost, one that's even harder to notice. Every empty room competes for your attention. More furniture, more decorations, more upgrades, more things to fill the space. A bigger house rarely stays empty. It slowly invites more spending. A larger dining room suddenly needs a larger table. The guest bedroom needs new furniture. The basement feels unfinished. The backyard needs landscaping. The walls need artwork. Before long, the house isn't serving you anymore. You're serving the house. It's an endless cycle. Not because you're irresponsible, but because every additional square foot creates another expectation, another project, another expense, another reason to spend. The tragedy isn't that people buy homes they love. The tragedy is that so many people mistake excess for happiness, because happiness doesn't expand when your floor plan does. Peace doesn't come from another empty room. Freedom doesn't come from a bigger mortgage. And the most valuable thing a home can provide has never been its size. It's the life that happens inside it. The greatest homes aren't the ones with the most space. They're the ones that leave enough room in your finances for your future. Let's imagine two people. Both are hardworking. Both are intelligent. Both earn roughly the same income. And both receive a promotion at nearly the same time. From the outside, their lives begin in almost exactly the same place. But one decision changes everything. Meet family A. The promotion feels like permission. They've worked hard for years. So naturally, they decide it's time to upgrade. A beautiful neighborhood, a larger backyard, an open-concept kitchen, 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, everything they've ever pictured when they imagined success. The housewarming party is incredible. Friends walk through the front door, wide-eyed with admiration. Everyone says the same thing. Wow, you've really made it. But for a while, it feels true. Every morning, they pull into the driveway with pride. Every holiday, the family gathers in the spacious living room. From the outside, their life looks almost perfect. But appearances have a strange way of hiding reality. A few years pass, then another. The mortgage is larger than expected. Property taxes increase. Insurance premiums rise. Maintenance never seems to stop. The roof needs repairs. The HVAC system fails. The deck needs replacing. The savings account slowly disappears. Vacations become less frequent. Every unexpected expense creates anxiety. Eventually, they stop talking about financial freedom. Now, they're simply trying to keep up. The promotion that once felt like victory has quietly become a prison sentence. Leaving a stressful job, not possible. Starting a business, too risky. Taking 6 months off to care for family, out of the question. Their house owns their future, not the other way around. Now, let's meet Elena. She received the same promotion. She could have upgraded. The bank approved her. Friends encouraged her. The real estate agent assured her, you can absolutely afford it. But Elena asked herself a different question. Not how much house can I buy? Instead, enough. How much freedom do I want to keep? So she stayed where she was, a comfortable 3-bedroom home. Nothing extravagant, nothing that impressed strangers. just enough space for the life she actually lived. Her total housing costs stayed around 20% of her take-home income. Then she did something remarkably ordinary. She automated the difference. Every month, the money that could have gone toward a larger mortgage went directly into low-cost index funds. No emotional decisions, no market predictions, no complicated strategies, just consistency. Month after month, year after year. 10 years later, the results look nothing alike. Family A owns a larger house, but they're exhausted. Their income is high, yet every paycheck already has a destination. They feel successful, but they don't feel secure. Meanwhile, Elena's investment account quietly crosses 7 figures. She has options. She can change careers. She can take a year off. She can retire early if she chooses. She can help her parents, support a friend, travel without guilt, or simply sleep peacefully, knowing money is no longer controlling every major decision. Here's the surprising part. Neither person was luckier. Neither earned dramatically more money. Neither discovered a secret investment. The difference wasn't income. It wasn't intelligence. It wasn't timing. It was one simple decision, repeated every single month. One chose to maximize square footage. The other chose to maximize freedom. And that's the question hiding beneath every financial decision you'll ever make. Not if, can I afford this? But what is this costing my future? Because every dollar has 2 jobs. It can impress people today, or it can protect you tomorrow. Very few dollars can do both. If something in this story feels uncomfortably familiar, that's not a coincidence. Most of us were taught how to earn money. Very few of us were taught how to keep it, or how to protect it from decisions that society celebrates. If you're enjoying this journey, and you want more stories that expose the hidden financial traps quietly stealing people's freedom, take just a second. Subscribe to Moral Money Use. Every week, we uncover the money lessons that schools never taught. But every adult eventually pays to learn. Because once you understand how money really works, you stop chasing the appearance of wealth and start building the kind of wealth that quietly gives you your life back. By now, some people are probably thinking, but wait, a house is an investment. Real estate always goes up. 6. You're building equity instead of paying rent. You've heard these phrases before. Maybe from friends. Maybe from family. Maybe from financial gurus. Or maybe from the real estate agent whose paycheck depends on you believing them. Now, let's separate the truth from the marketing, because every lie contains a small piece of truth. Yes, homes usually appreciate over long periods of time. That's true. But appreciation is not the same thing as profit. Imagine someone tells you their home increased in value by 300,000. It sounds incredible until you ask a different question. How much did it actually cost to own that house? Because ownership comes with expenses that almost nobody includes when celebrating rising home prices. Property taxes, every year. Homeowners insurance, every year. Maintenance, every year. Repairs, every year. Mortgage interest, often for decades. And when it's finally time to sell, real estate commissions, closing costs, moving expenses, and capital improvements quietly take another bite. 1 expense feels manageable. 2 still seem reasonable. But 30 years of expenses tell a very different story. When economists compare long-term investments, they don't look only at what something gained. They subtract everything it cost to produce that gain. And after accounting for inflation, financing costs, maintenance, and transaction fees, the average home's real return is often far less impressive than most people imagine. Meanwhile, a simple portfolio of diversified index funds has historically delivered stronger long-term growth, without requiring you to replace a roof, repair plumbing, or mow the lawn every Saturday morning. But there's an even bigger misunderstanding. People call their house an asset, and technically, they're right. But here's the question that matters. How useful is that asset when life suddenly changes? Imagine you lose your job, or face an unexpected medical emergency, or someone you love needs financial help. Can you sell just the kitchen? Can you cash out half of your living room? Can you liquidate one bedroom to pay the hospital bill? Of course not. Your wealth may exist, but it's trapped, locked inside walls, concrete, drywall, wood, glass. On paper, you may look like a millionaire. In reality, you might struggle to find $5,000 in cash. This happens more often than people realize. There are retirees living in beautiful 5-bedroom homes worth well over $1 million, who still worry every month about paying utility bills. They are house rich and cash poor. The world celebrates their net worth, but net worth doesn't buy groceries. It doesn't pay prescriptions, and it certainly doesn't eliminate financial stress. When your money can't actually be used, true wealth isn't measured by what you own. It's measured by the choices your money allows you to make. Can you walk away from a toxic job? Can you survive an emergency? Can you sleep peacefully without checking your bank balance every night? That's wealth, not granite countertops, not vaulted ceilings, not an address with a prestigious ZIP code. The biggest lie was never that houses appreciate. The biggest lie was convincing people that a larger house automatically makes them wealthier. Sometimes it does exactly the opposite. It quietly consumes the very capital that could have made them financially free. And once you begin looking beyond the sale price, beyond the beautiful photos, beyond the perfectly staged open houses, you start asking a completely different question. Not, "Vuff, how much is this house worth?" Buff, how much of my life will this house quietly ask me to give away? So, where does that leave us? Should everyone live in the smallest house possible? Of course not. This isn't about guilt, and it isn't about denying yourself comfort. A home matters. It should be safe. A place where your family can grow, where memories are made, and where you genuinely enjoy coming home. But there's an important difference between buying a home that supports your life and buying one that's designed to impress people who don't pay your bills. Somewhere along the way, many of us stopped asking, "What do I actually need?" and started asking, "What will other people think?" That's a dangerous question, because social comparison has no finish line. There will always be a larger house, a newer neighborhood, a bigger kitchen, a luxury car parked next door. If your happiness depends on keeping up, you'll spend your entire life running and never arrive. Instead, try asking a different question. How much freedom do I want? Because every financial decision is ultimately a decision about freedom. The freedom to spend time with your family, the freedom to change careers, the freedom to travel, the freedom to retire early, the freedom to help the people you love, without worrying whether your checking account can survive it. Here's a simple guideline that has protected countless Financially successful families. Keep your total housing costs, your mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and everything else your home demands, below 25% of your take-home income. Not because someone on the internet said so, but because every dollar you don't lock inside your house becomes a dollar working for your future. Then, make one more decision. Automate your investing. Don't wait until the end of the month to see what's left. There usually won't be much left. Instead, pay your future first. Every paycheck, every month, every year, quietly, consistently. Because wealth isn't usually built through dramatic decisions. It's built through ordinary habits, repeated for decades. Now, some of you watching may be thinking, "Oof, it's too late. I already bought the big house." If that's you, I want you to hear this carefully. You didn't fail. You simply made the best decision with the information you had at the time. And today, you have better information. That changes everything. There is no shame in changing your mind. Some of the smartest financial decisions people ever make begin with a single uncomfortable realization. Maybe the house is simply too large, too expensive, too demanding. If that's true, consider right-sizing, not downsizing. Right-sizing. Choose a home that fits your real life, instead of the life you felt pressured to display. The equity trapped inside those walls can become something far more valuable. An investment portfolio, a debt-free future, a college fund, a business you've always dreamed of starting, or simply peace of mind. Because money sitting inside an oversized house can't change your life. Money working for you can. At the beginning of this video, we walked through the front door of what looked like the perfect home. Now, as we reach the end, I hope you see something different. The biggest house was never the prize. The newest kitchen was never the prize. The impressive address was never the prize. The real prize has always been freedom. Freedom to choose, freedom to breathe, freedom to wake up each morning, knowing your life belongs to you, not to a monthly payment. Because one day, your children won't remember how tall the ceilings were. Your friends won't remember how large your driveway was. And your neighbors certainly won't remember how many bathrooms your house had. But you will remember whether you had the freedom to truly live. That's the wealth that matters. That's the success no one can take away. And that's the life worth building. If today's story changed the way you think about money, don't stop here. Because oversized homes, car payments, lifestyle inflation, and debt all come from the same invisible system. A system that quietly convinces ordinary people, to trade tomorrow's freedom for today's appearance of success. If you want to understand how money really works, and learn the principles that quietly build lasting wealth, click on the next video now. It might save you years of financial stress and perhaps millions of dollars. Thank you for watching Moral Money Use. And remember, the people who look the richest aren't always the wealthiest. The people with the most freedom usually are. I'll see you in the next video.